Cassell's going into the house now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been over 3 weeks since they've moved into that house, and not once in all that time have I ever seen Mrs. Cassell. I mean, don't you think that's odd?
Mm-hmm.
He does all the housework, even hangs out the washing, and
Mm-hmm.
I've even bumped into him in the supermarket once or twice. He was not friendly at all, I can tell you. Such an odd, withdrawn type. I don't see how he could be a good teacher. He is so shy of strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Remember they said he used to work in New York? What's he doing in a small town like ours, anyway? I'd like to know where Mrs. Cassell is. Why don't I ever see her? Where is Mrs. Cassell? A story of Mrs. Cassell. Part 1. Maybe she's crazy. Mr. Cassell kept his crazy wife hidden in the house. Maybe Mrs. Cassell's an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why I don't see her. Drinks all night and sleeps it off all day. So he hides her in the attic. Michael, please let me out. That man is so jealous that he keeps his wife in a prison in her own home. He won't even let his wife out to see a neighbor. I have to do something about it. Suppose there isn't any Mrs. Cassell. Suppose Mrs. Cassell is dead. He can't get used to it, so he pretends that she's still with him. Or maybe he killed her. Maybe he killed her. Maybe she's had some secret vice and he had to get rid of her to save his career. Oh my God, what if he killed her? It's not really so far-fetched when you think about it, you know. Mr. Cassell gets rid of his wife, but then he's afraid that somebody might get suspicious, so he has to pretend that she's still with him. That would explain a lot of things, you know. No, I tell you, something's wrong with that man. Mr. Cassell. John, Mr. Cassell just left the house with a huge sack.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he killed Mrs. Cassell and now he's trying to get rid of her.
Mm-hmm.
Please, will you call the police?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, never mind, I'll do it myself. Hello? Yes, is that the police? Yes. This is Mrs. Julie Stanton. Yes, I'm phoning about my neighbour, Mr. Cassell. Yes, well, you see, I think he's murdered his wife. You mean you still haven't found the body? Well, I don't know where to look. You're the police. Just ask yourself, where would you go with the body if you had one? Oh. Really? They are so lazy and rude.
And that's the end of Mrs.
Cassell. Hello, I've come for coffee. Mrs. Stanton, I'm Mrs. Cassell. Oh, Mrs. Cassell? You have such a funny look on your face, as if I were a ghost. I was beginning to think you didn't exist at all. My husband and I are very private people. Especially Michael. He's quite a recluse. I have my studio at home, so I'm in the house a lot. We don't usually have much to do with our neighbors. Don't you get cooped up sometimes, always inside, never going out, never seeing anyone? Oh, I go out. I go to the movies and I go shopping. I adore shopping by myself. And sometimes I even visit the neighbors. Michael doesn't approve. I guess he's right. I don't think you're for real. I'm very grateful to Michael. He understands my artistic temperament, my little foibles. Besides, I'm a most dreadful housekeeper. Sometimes I think he's an angel to put up with me. Oh, just a moment, please. Yes, Inspector. Yes, Michael Cassell, that is my husband. Yes, I am Mrs. Cassell. Arrested? What? A neighbor called? Yes, I will come down there right as soon as I can get a taxi. Just imagine, Mrs. Stanton, someone called the police and told them that my husband had murdered his wife. Me! And now I have to go down to the police station and prove to them that I am Mrs. Cassell. Well, I never. Now, who would do a thing like that?